let's jump right in. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and honestly kinda hidden world that exists right beneath our fingertips. We're talking about cybersecurity, digital web tracking, and the invisible mechanics of the internet. Every single day, we're visiting hundreds of websites, searching for info, shopping online, scrolling through social feeds. But there is this silent exchange of data happening in the background every single time you click. And that's exactly what this explainer is all about. So, have you ever wondered how websites just seem to know your preferences? Or how they manage to show you perfectly personalized ads? You totally know the feeling. You search for a new pair of running shoes on your phone, and suddenly, eerily accurate ads for those exact same shoes are following you around the internet for the next week. It literally feels like your devices are reading your mind. But spoiler alert, it's not magic. It's just technology. Specifically, one little piece of technology.
Section 1. The suspect. What exactly are internet cookies?
Look, when we hear the word tracking, our brains usually jump straight to malicious viruses or hackers in dark hoodies. But an internet cookie is actually just a really small piece of data that a website stores on your device when you visit it. Think of them less like a virus and way more like a digital breadcrumb, or maybe a temporary ID badge. You walk into a digital building, a website, and they hand you a badge so they recognize you while you're hanging out there. They're fundamentally designed to improve your online experience.
And that's a crucial point to remember. Not all cookies are dangerous. In fact, a ton of the websites we rely on every day completely depend on these little files for basic, everyday functionality. I mean, without cookies, a website wouldn't be able to remember your language preferences. You'd have to log in over and over again every time you clicked a new link on the exact same site. And that online shopping cart, without cookies, your cart just empties the second you navigate away from the page. The problem only really kicks in when this tech is used to monitor your online behavior without you fully understanding what's going on behind the curtain.
Section 2. The investigation. How do cookies track you?
Well, the process builds step by step. Step 1 is super simple. You just visit a website. Step 2 is where the invisible handshake happens. A cookie stores your interaction. And then step 3, over time, a profile is built based on your activity. Just like that, a simple, everyday click turns into a stored digital profile. Advertising networks then use these tracking technologies to stitch all your interactions together. To really wrap our heads around this, let's look at the specific data points these cookies are recording. They log exactly which pages you visit. They track how long you stay there. Did you read that whole article for 5 minutes or bounce after 10 seconds? They record what products you view, and eventually, they learn your general browsing habits. Now sure, this info helps websites improve their services, but it also creates an incredibly detailed, highly specific behavioral map of exactly who you are and what you're into.
Section 3. The lineup. Categorizing the suspects.
We have to draw a major line in the sand here. On one side, we've got first-party cookies. These are kind of the good guys. They're created directly by the website you're visiting, basically just to make things convenient for you, like keeping you logged in. But on the other side, we have third-party cookies. These are created by external companies, mostly for advertising and analytics. These are the eavesdroppers. They create the biggest privacy headaches because they don't just stay on one site. They can follow your activity across totally unrelated websites. That is exactly why the shoes you looked at on a retail site are suddenly haunting you while you read a news blog.
We can also categorize our suspects by their lifespan. Session cookies are strictly temporary. The second you close your browser window, poof, they disappear entirely. Persistent cookies, on the other hand, definitely live up to their name. They remain stored on your device for a much longer period, sometimes months or even years. They quietly log your return visits, constantly building out that long-term profile until they finally expire or you go in and manually delete them.
Section 4. The threat. The hidden privacy risks.
Now, while cookies are undeniably useful, they do open the door to some real-world dangers. The first big one is online tracking and detailed profiling, meaning companies might actually know your habits better than you do. The second is data exposure. If cookies holding sensitive information get stolen by attackers, it leads right into the third risk. Those attackers can use them to access your accounts or just completely impersonate you online. But honestly, the most common and dangerous risk of all is the last one. A total lack of awareness. I mean, how many times have you just blindly clicked accept all cookies on a pop-up without reading anything? We've absolutely all done it, and it's a massive vulnerability.
Because here is the core issue. The more data collected about you, the greater the potential privacy risk. It's just simple math, really. The larger your digital footprint gets, the more avenues there are for that data to be misused, sold off, or stolen. And that is exactly why every single person using the internet needs to care about web tracking.
Section 5. Self-defense. How to protect yourself.
Okay, it's definitely not all doom and gloom here. Taking control of your data is highly achievable. Here's a quick checklist to help you do exactly that. First, take like 5 minutes to regularly review your browser's privacy settings. You would be amazed at what you can block by default. Second, make it a habit to delete unnecessary cookies periodically. Just clear out those persistent eavesdroppers. Third, be super careful when accepting cookie permissions, especially on unfamiliar sites. Remember, you don't actually have to click Accept All. Keep an eye out for that Manage Preferences button. Fourth, utilize privacy-focused browser features like tracking protection. And finally, always keep your web browser updated. Security patches are your absolute best friend.
Now, as you start setting out these defenses, just keep this one principle in mind. The goal here is to make informed choices, not to eliminate all cookies. If you go in and block absolutely every single cookie, the modern internet will pretty much just break for you. You won't be able to log in anywhere, and websites will become incredibly frustrating to navigate. A lot of cookies are super useful and totally necessary. The real objective is simply to understand what data you're actually sharing and to consciously decide who gets to see it.
Which brings us to a final thought to wrap up today's explainer. Are the conveniences of the modern web truly worth the cost of your digital privacy? Cookies make the internet seamless, fast, and highly personalized for us, but they also expose exactly how much of our lives can be monitored, packaged, and tracked. In our digital world, understanding how this tech works is step one in cybersecurity awareness. Your data is incredibly valuable, so how much of it are you willing to trade for convenience? I'm going to leave you to think about that one. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious, stay secure, and keep learning.